Buddy Holly to us was amazing for a number of reasons. He sang and played guitar. Elvis just sang and Scotty Moore played guitar. He not only played guitar, he played the solos. Normally if you played guitar, there was another guy in the group who was a lead guitar who played the solos, but Buddy sang, played guitar and played the solos. He also wrote the stuff. So this was like all-inclusive one-man band. And we really thought that was great. So this is what we have to do. He also wore these big horn-rimmed glasses, and as did John. And if ever there would be a girl coming up, John would whip his glasses off and put them in his pocket and squint as she went by. And I would say, you look pretty good, the glasses are good now. But when Buddy came along, the glasses stayed on. It was like Harry Potter with all the kids. The name, the Crickets. You know, we wanted something with a dual meaning. And it turned out they didn't know they had a dual meaning. They didn't know about the game cricket. No, they just thought it was grasshopper. So we said to them, I met them years later, I said, fantastic, man, the Beatles. We loved cricket, chirpy little things, and the great game of cricket. What a brilliant name for a group. And they went, what? You know, oh no, we just heard a grasshopper in the studio wall, you know. My memory of it was that we were striving to find something with a dual meaning because of the crickets. This was the idea. Now, the actual origin of it is clouded in mystery. But there are all sorts of theories about this. There's the wild ones, Marlon Brando, and at one point, Lee Marvin says, hey, Johnny, I think he's called.
Come on, Johnny. We all missed you. You miss him?
Yeah. Hey, Johnny, we love you. You know, come on back to the gang or something like that. Johnny, we love you. The Beatles love you.
You miss them? Yeah. The Beatles missed you. All the Beatles missed you.
It turns out the moles, the girls in the motorcycle gang, were called Beatles. Does the Beatles love you? And I know John and Stuart, his art school friend, Stuart Sutcliffe, loved that film, as we all did. I think they'd seen it. I think we just loved it and hadn't seen it. Anyway, so that's one of the theories. At one of those writing sessions, 24th and Road, up a little garden path, past my dad's lavender hedge, you know, we would write Love Me Do, and John came up with this little harmonica riff. It's so simple, there's nothing to it. It's a will-o'-the-wisp little song. I think our image and our energy as the four Beatles was what was potent. And it had a very fresh sound. That's the sort of thing that people notice. And we had a very fresh image. Nobody looked like us. And we'd been working at it a long time. In Liverpool, originally, as really a bunch of rockers, you know, with the quiffs and everything. Gone over to Hamburg as the rockers. Had got a little bit leatherified there. And then it moved from leather to suits at the request of Brian Epstein. And so we all went over to Ben O'Dawn, who was in the Wirral, Birkenhead, a tailor. We'd never been to a tailor, really, you know, so certainly not en masse. We all went over and got suits. So we had this image. We had all the experience, musical experience of Hamburg, of playing a lot, your 10,000 hours, Mr. Gladwell's 10,000 hours. So when we kind of then came on the scene and were seen on television, we had a freshness, complete simplicity. The Love Me Do it's got a slightly sort of bluesy thing. I mean, it's not a blues, but it's got a simplicity, like a little sort of down home on the porch with a couple of guitars and harmonica. It's a funny thing, you try and recreate that stuff now, and it's almost impossible. Why? Because you were 16, that's why. You were looking at the world, and the world was good. There was this marvelous rock and roll future unfolding itself, and you were about to become part of it. So your longings for a girl, which was impossible to achieve, you know, nobody had that little perfect high school sweetheart. You know, so there was this great longing. For your career, is you didn't know what you were going to do, and it was a dread of all dreads I was about to go to teachers training college. I was trying to put that off forever. I did not want to go into that mold. So there was all these different kinds of longings. John and I's mothers had both died, which was this amazing bond between us. We both understood the anguish of that. And at that age, it's largely unspoken. Mm-hmm. You just say, oh, your mother died? Yeah, so did mine. I knew the circumstances of his mother's death, he knew the circumstances of mine. And we would talk about it a little bit. But being young boys, you didn't talk about it much. So all this was rolled up into this package, this longing, and it spilled out, which is the best way to write. John and I looked at that and said, right, we could do that. What a good idea. If we get hits, that will then get money, and it may not buy us love, but it'll buy us a car. I must admit, we were young guys without any money, coming from Liverpool with dreams. And once we realized that to write a hit song would get you some money, it was very attractive thought. And it wasn't just the money, it was then the joy of pulling a song out of a hat, being able to play it with our band, which needed songs. So we were feeding the machine. Our recording hours were what now classical people do. It's the norm for recording. You normally go in 10 o'clock, you get yourself together, you start at 10:30, you then will work 3 hours, you then have an hour break, and you work 2:30 to 5:30, and that's it. And in those 2 periods of 3 hours, it was expected that we would be able to finish 2 songs. So we did, and that was the output and the flow of just having to come up with 2 complete things. But the great thing about this was you were finished by 5:30. There were all sorts of things, as I say, that you instinctively knew. Don't try too hard. Don't work too hard at reaching for it, because the more you reach, the more it'll recede. Just kid on that you don't even want it. Something will happen where everyone else around us will be worrying, what's going on, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. We always related back to this accident we had on the motorway going from London up to Liverpool, where we'd skidded off in the snow down the bank with our van, and at the bottom of the van were this, how the hell are we ever going to get home? It's snowing, we're freezing. And someone in the group said, well, something will happen. And it was like, that became a mantra. And as I say, it's actually a very good one. It's not reaching for it, it's letting it go.